looking over our crew here on the line. Looks like a lot of the usual suspects. Anyway, real quick. So Mike Farron-Jones, for maybe the one possible person that doesn't know me on the line, Joyce. The why we are here, Confidential Computing Consortium, focused on data and use, antitrust, very important when we are competitors working together. So please be familiar with the antitrust policy. Joyce, is this your first time? Or I think maybe you've been
This
here
is my
before.
Yeah, this is my second time. Nice to see you again.
All right. The mascot Tico is welcome. Oh, new face. Yaroslav from SUSE. Just you and a new member joining up?
No, I just haven't been here for some time, but I'm an old member.
All right. Well, welcome. It's probably going to be a short one. And again, that's my famous last words for any meeting that winds up going the full hour. Okay, the usual suspects of your team that's driving the outreach committee, please ping us if you have any questions or issues that you want to address. Our directory of voting members. I don't think we have quorum, but that's fine. We'll keep going. All right. Anyone object to the minutes from last time being approved? Hearing no objections, off we go. Minutes are approved. Usual reminders. The newsletter, of course, always hungry for newsletter content. The more technical, the better. But any news that you guys have about, got a great win, got a new product, got a new blog up, please go ahead and submit it for the newsletter, and let's get some additional eyes on it. Blogs, of course, always welcome. Technical the better. Everybody loves a good how-to. Everybody loves a good deep dive into technology. And then the badge, help yourself. Please use it on your website, your collateral, whenever you want to promote that you are a member of the Confidential Computing Consortium. All right, Rachel is going to lead the budget discussion, but she is unable to attend. Here's the bottom line, my friends. It is looking like we knew that outreach was going to take a cut from last year. That was just mathematically inevitable. It looks like that cut might be even deeper than we had anticipated. And so this is going to result in a couple of interesting conversations from the for the next couple of meetings about how we want to prioritize the available funds that we have and what do we want to spend on. I, of course, have got some feelings about this. And I think we need to probably have a more focused discussion on priorities. My view on budget discussions is never like take where you were and subtract. But instead, think about what are your priorities? What do you want to get done? And then prioritize your spending on the things that are most important to us. I think from our various research projects, both the IDC one that the CCC sponsored and one that Intel, I just got the download on it from my colleagues at Intel. We still suffer from an awareness problem. And if the people who are aware of confidential computing are excited about it, but the problem is a lot of people remain unaware. So we've got work to do in just driving awareness, and we should be talking about what would be our best way to use our budget to get our awareness numbers up. Okay, so that will be coming up in a future meeting. I know Rachel's got some work that she's doing here. Okay, the workshop at the
Sorry,
Hilton
can
Canopy.
I just add something to that, Mike?
Sure.
Which is that we have the governing board meeting directly after this in 50 minutes time, and at that, I think, well, we hope to agree a budget, and that will allow us to be able to say to the various committees, this is how much money you will have allocated for next year. So hopefully that'll allow us at least to know what things look like and take it from there. So I'm sorry it's taken a while to get to that position. And as it happens, Rachel's not here anyway. But I do hope that we'll have some clarity fairly shortly. That's it.
Okay, and yeah, and the governing board. I mean, we do even have issues upstream of us in the governing board. So things like, what does the governing board want to prioritize for the whole consortium? Do they want to invest in what we would call demand side programs, which would drive awareness and consumption of confidential computing, or do they want to focus on supply side issues, standardization, tools, open source projects, things like that. So that is still a live debate within the governing board. So once that gets settled, that will, I think, have a big impact on the dollar amount that we'll have to spend. And then we will have the task of deciding how we're going to spend that chunk of money.
And I'm also hoping to be able to get better engagement or promises of better engagement from what we're doing, sort of, rather than everything being from the bottom up, sort of getting volunteers in and saying, oh yeah, I can do that. Hopefully getting commitment from some of the members to say, we're definitely going to help with this type of thing. So we'll see, but that's the hope.
Yeah, that being a member comes with obligations, not just benefits.
Indeed.
Okay. Okay. We've got two big events, big pushes here towards the end of the year. First one is our customer workshop at the Hilton Canopy in San Francisco. This one's going down on Monday. We've got, me, Laura, and Guzo have been up to our eyeballs and planning, communicating, picking menus, all this good stuff to get folks in the room and an array of speakers to promote confidential computing. We are looking at about 32 attendees. I would say we are probably a little heavier on ecosystem than I would like, but it's not all ecosystem. We've got some real live customers and potential adopters coming to the show, and we've got a pretty great array of speakers that have been put together to give them the download on confidential computing and hopefully get them doing pilots or adopting. Nothing at this point, really nothing for anybody to do. We are just in the final throes of execution. We shall convene on Monday in San Francisco, get this one done.
So are there more spaces if someone has a last minute addition that they would like to invite along or not, Mike?
I'll take it as I'll go full Irish and say there's always room for one more, so we'll find a way to cram. If a like a customer says, hey, I'd love to go, we'll find a way to get him in. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you.
But if it's another ecosystem partner, like, from a confidential computing software company, I'm like,
No, I get it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let's see. IDC research update. So I chatted back and forth.
Talk about the other thing that's happening, the other outreach.
We do, but I am just going by the order of slides.
Oh, okay, fine. I wasn't sure. That's fine.
So real quick, let me get to it, Mike.
It's fine.
IDC update, I checked in with them yesterday. They have got the draft of their final white paper is in their editing process. So it's the analysts have written it. It is in their internal edit and copyright or copy editing group, and they will then send that over to us. Meg said on the 22nd, so we got about another week, and then we should have the proposed final for CCC comment and edits. And if we turn that around fast, we could have this ready to go by the first week of November. Then we've got some interesting decisions to make about how we want to promote and use this research. Do we want to keep it to ourselves and use it to inform our either our efforts or our product development, or do we want to chop it up in bits to use on social? Do we want to use it to try and generate press interest and having them writing about the results? My experience is that you can always find somebody to write about market research if you propose it to the press correctly. All right, so be on the lookout for that. It's there will be an open call for people to provide comments and updates on the proposed final. So I would welcome more eyes on this than have been on it so far. Okay, up next, open source in finance forum. This is our other big event happening next week, and Mike and Rachel are taking the lead on that. Mike, do you have what's the latest?
Yeah, it's all go. We have everything ready to go. The only request I have is I'm trying to put together a slide deck on demonstrating compliance with confidential computing aimed at the financial world. If you or your company have examples of demonstrating compliance, I'm getting towards finishing the slides fairly soon. I've got to give them on Wednesday. So I would love it if you have any examples you could give me. I've got some hopefully coming from Red Hat, because Chris Butler presented to the TAC a while ago. But if you have any good examples of specifically demonstrating compliance with confidential computing in a financial sector world type use case, please send them along. I'd love to see them. We have basically Wednesday, we have a track. I have a 5-minute keynote. I should be going through, I think, 39 slides in 5 minutes. It'll be fairly quick. And then we got 6 different talks, all by members, which is fantastic. So if you are in New York or can be in New York or have colleagues or specifically customers in New York, please send them along.
Hey, Mike, do we have any passes as a result of our sponsorship?
Yeah, we absolutely do have passes. I think we have 15, and I'm not sure you've used any of them. So yeah, I should have said thank you very much indeed. We have a bunch of passes. Yeah, so we can give those out to members, and I think, in fact, to your customers. So it's free basically. They get to go for free as long as we don't suddenly have 20 people wanting to go. So yeah, thanks, Mike. That's very foolish of me. I should have said thank you.
Okay, if somebody wants, if we're able to bring in folks for passes, should we pass along their email to you? What's the best way to do this?
Yeah, I think the easiest is me. And if you can't remember how to get in touch with me, just get in touch with Renew or Rian. But yeah, please just get in touch with me and we can make that happen. I have details of the passes.
Okay. And also just on your question, I will go digging around. I know it's not a financial services company, but Microsoft processes all of their credit card payments in confidential computing enclaves. and they did published a
Indeed.
case study about this. We can post.
Is there anything
Bring-
specific on compliance? That's the particular tag.
I'm trying to remember. I remember talking to Brad Turner, the guy that runs it, and he had mentioned that it is, PCI compliant, but I don't know if
Yeah,
that is in the
perfect.
public white paper. I'll dig up the white paper and I'll see if that's
Even if it's not, even if I can't do attribution, give an example
I
of
think,
how what it
excuse
does.
me?
That would be great. Hi, Milika.
Hi, I think it is, but I can check with Brad.
Thank you. That
I
would be
think it is
brilliant. That's a
compliant,
lovely
yeah.
example. Lovely example.
And
Thank you.
we also did one with a bank who I want to say is Royal Bank of Canada with a know your customer use case. And I'll see if I can dig that one up.
Lovely.
Yeah. And what would be the ask? Should they present somewhere, or what is the ideal case for those customers?
I think it's most. Go ahead, Mike.
What I'm looking to do is basically to give these examples in my slide deck. I'm happy to give attribution to the supplier and or the customer if they're happy to do so. If we're not sure, we probably don't have much time, but whatever works. I'm also happy to take pictures or to redraw the pictures depending on what people's views are of what's the most appropriate way to do that. I'm easy either way. Perfect would be, here's the use case, here's the supplier, here's the customer, isn't it lovely? And here's the compliance regime. That would be brilliant.
Yeah, I will speak with Brad. I think the best would be if we can come to the story together.
Yeah, no, that would be absolutely fantastic.
Good.
Okay, Angela, do we have anything new? I don't know if these are old slides.
These are actually new, since we did a,
Because like I said, I had the,
yeah, go ahead.
oh, go ahead. I wasn't sure if they were new updates. I was, like I said, I was asked to step in and run today's meeting at the last minute, so I was not involved in slide prep. I wasn't sure if these were new, but please, if they're new, go ahead.
Yeah, that's okay. So we did a August update last week, last meeting, and then this time we're having all the information for September. So for LinkedIn metrics, we had around 1.56% of increase month over month, and we're pretty soon reaching 2.5K followers on LinkedIn now. And last month we published 6 posts, and I'll talk about the content focus later. And we had around 247% increase of impression month over month as well. And the most engaged post was the podcast by Manu and Jason. And next slide, please.
When we say we had a 1.5% increase, that's like for 40 people. I mean, that's 1.5 is quite low, right? In the order
I can take a quick look at the number that we did last time. So we had 2366 followers last month.
Yeah, sure. That's what I get for my maths. Okay. All right. So I got a few. Still going up. That's good. Up is better than down.
Yeah.
Yeah. And next slide, please.
But I think it. I mean, it's a. I'm gonna put this as a tiny microcosm of the benefits of content marketing. I mean, one of the things that drove, that helped contribute to those additional followers, of course, is that we gave them, something to latch onto. In this case, the podcast from Tech Arena. So I think, as we look forward to 2026, this, I think, a constant, not not like every day, but multiple times a month, new pieces of content coming up for people to latch onto and engage with, I think is going to be super important in getting us to grow that audience up from 2,400 up into the the 4,000, 5,000 areas in
Tens
next
of
calendar
thousands.
year. Your ambition is admirable.
Thank you.
And so
Angela,
so I think keep an eye on that. Again, the newsletter, announcements, podcast, just thinking of stuff. I'm just as we're looking at this, I am imagining our IDC research, and if we had a series of 1-minute videos of like, here's a key insight from the IDC research on awareness, or here's the top use case was this, 45 seconds. It's like people just give them something to click on and something to give them a dopamine hit, and I think we can grow our followership.
and where I want to get to it for next year is for someone to own that. Somebody has to own. We are going to have a chart of things we're going to provide, and decide who's going to provide those. That's where we need to move to, rather than it being a nice thing to aspire to.
Yeah, and absolutely. I mean, this is and here's going to be the trick next year is I think one of the things that has happened in for example the Canopy event is when the burden concentrates on very few people, your enthusiasm for, or your ability to produce goes down, because we've all got day jobs, right? And so right now Confidential Computing Consortium is running about a third of my job, some days more than a third, and that's a lot for any of us to carry in for this activity. So in 2026, I would love it if if we had more people throwing in 10%, 15% onto content generation programs. So we just have a calendar of content that's coming up. We got to look ahead for at least 60 days, and we've got all kinds of names on the calendar associated with a bit of content that would be going into our feeds, into our newsletter, into our blogs. And I know we've had some interesting conversations about commercial content versus general open source, but I think we can navigate that path. So we'll figure that out. But I think it's going to be key where everybody on outreach is chipping in a little something to go up on LinkedIn, to go up on the blog or the newsletters.
I think Angela may have had some more stuff as well to say, but I agree with all of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and thank you so much for that. And I'll talk to Dan to discuss next year's plan regarding the content calendar, or we could talk about content theme and encourage folks to submit technical blogs, of course, as well. And then for the recent content, this is what happened to the past month. So we highlighted that the compliance page was live, and the workshop, of course, the September newsletter, and a couple of welcoming new member blogs. So that was what was in the content pipeline last month. And that's all of the updates.
All right. Any other business?
So another thing that on the same thing, I think, just very briefly, I think one of the things that it would be useful to understand is it's been a while since we've had an update from our LF colleagues about the different services that we get from them and how best to use them. What can Angela and Dan provide and their team? What are we using so far? How can we use it better? How do we compare to other folks? So that we know as we plan what we can, frankly, how we can leverage them to the best advantage of everyone here. Because I've got a fairly good idea, but maybe it's changed. Maybe, and I'm sure not everybody knows, and I'd love to know better. So that'd be a useful thing to think about as well, I think.
Yeah, and I had a one sidebar conversation with Dan a couple months back about what services that LF can offer and things like helping us drive audience or doing the content development. If they've sort of got an internal agency that does a lot of that stuff, and it might be worth hearing more about that service along with all the others.
That's exactly the sort of thing I was thinking about. Yeah, let's make sure that we get that into the end of this year, early next year, I think.
Okay. All right. Any other opens?
Half hour on the dot. Nice work, Mike.
I aim to please. All right. I think
Thanks, folks.
we are done. Thanks, everybody.
Cheers. Bye.